Boston Celtics basketball is kind of back, I guess. Media Day went down today. Training camp starts tomorrow, and we're going to break down all the major news that we got from new faces on the Celtics roster: Joe Mazzulla, Brad Stevens, Anfernee Simons, of course, as well, and the Celtics vets, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, the whole crew involved. But first, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. This is the #1 spot for Celtics coverage all season long. We'll be doing live watch parties, breaking news coverage. When the Celtics make moves, we make a video right here on the channel, but we'll be making tons of other videos every single day as well. It's all 100% free coverage. Over 53,000 diehard C's fans are already subscribed, so if you love the C's and you want free content every day, hit that button. Alrighty, let's start here. Anfernee Simons. I figured that's where we should start today's video because we're going to talk about a couple new faces, but this is the marquee addition that has been in the rumor mill, in the news, and hasn't yet been introduced to the media in Boston just yet. Anfernee Simons comes in and says, I'm pretty excited about being part of something that's historic. And he also mentioned, being the #1 option in Portland and coming over to Boston, where now that might not be his role all the time. And he's just looking forward to affecting the game and winning basketball. Simons is a guy who played in a Portland system that was filled with young talent, really lacked an identity, and he mentioned that being traded to Boston, he feels really welcomed. Evan Turner was a vet of his back in his early Portland days, and now Evan Turner is a member on the Celtics coaching staff, so those two got reconnected. Really, really great stuff here from Simons. And as far as what Celtics fans should know about him, Noah Dalzell asked him that question, and here's what he had to say. He said, I go out there and try to do my best to help the team win, whether that's scoring or doing other things. And then you have Joe pushing me and being in this type of environment, it's going to bring the best out of me. Fans will see some of the things that they might not have seen in the past. And then he also talked about playing defense as well, which we know is not his calling card so far in his career. We talked about it. It's just a matter of if I want to do it or not. It's really that simple. I'm laughing at this one, guys. Coming into a culture like this, you have to be able to adapt. And then Joe Mazzulla always says, you're not as bad as people think you are. I'm pretty excited about being pushed to a new level, which I can reach. So, to be honest with you guys, I don't know whether to like that quote or not. I kind of like the part about Joe Mazzulla saying you're not as bad as everybody thinks you are, but that also carries a connotation that the court of public opinion says you're a really bad defender. But hopefully with effort comes good on-ball defense from Anfernee Simons. I don't really know what else to say other than that. A little bit concerning that he kind of has an on-off switch when it comes to playing defense, but he has also had to shoulder such a heavy offensive weight in his days in Portland where he can't be an all-NBA level defender. Let's see him kind of dial back the offense a little bit and maybe raise the defensive floor a little bit this season. I think he has it in him. Also said this about coming off of the bench versus starting, which we know has been a conversation this offseason as well. I understand the situation I'm coming to, and I understand my goals as a player. But as a team, we want to win. I want to win. I want to contribute to winning at the highest level. However that looks, I'm fine with it. Alrighty, here we go. I like that one a little bit more now. I like the willingness to adapt, the willingness to come into a role that may be uncertain on certain nights. And I think that's going to be the case pretty often with the Boston Celtics this year, is just an uncertainty. There's going to be different lineups here, different lineups there, different starting units here, different closing units there. It's just going to be a lot of experimenting in a year where there aren't a lot of huge expectations on the Boston Celtics. Sure, the players on the court, the coaching staff, they all have a high expectations of a championship-level ceiling, but let's look at it from a broad lens, from a big picture standpoint here. This team might not be as equipped as it normally is, and we know that it's not, to go out there and win a championship. But back on the starting lineup and bench conversations, I anticipate Anfernee Simons probably will come off of the bench a good bit this season, run that second unit for Boston, be the scoring load that he was in Portland for the duration of his career to this point with lesser talent on the floor. I think he has that ability in him to kind of just play hero ball for stretches of games and play it at a pretty high level. So I'm excited for Anfernee Simons here. He's going to have a ton of highlight plays. Brad Stevens mentioned that teams are going to have him on their scouting report. He is a scouting report asterisk, somebody who is liable to go off. That's a direct quote from Brad Stevens on Anfernee Simons. So I'm excited for, as long as the C's have him on their roster, to see him play basketball on the parquet floor. Show some love to Anfernee Simons as he's been finally introduced. Never got that off-season introductory press conference, but he's finally wearing green, wearing that #4, replacing Drew Holiday's number. Shout out to Drew. But type that 4 down in the comment section if you're showing love to Anfernee Simons now that he's in Celtic green. Speaking of which, with the whole starter bench conversation, Joe Mazzulla had actually made a couple of comments during Media Day where he said that there have been discussions about 5 in and 5 out lineups. Jordan Walsh was talking about it as well, where the Celtics are kind of making these hockey-esque substitutions where they're putting a whole line of players in, 5 in, 5 out, and those groups of 5 can go absolutely balls to the walls hard for that stretch of the game, and they're going to see if they can get up and down on teams, play really, really fast doing that way. Now, going kind of back to the starting and bench roles here for Peyton Pritchard's point of view, because that's who Celtics fans have kind of all theorized would be in competition with Anfernee Simons this upcoming season. And Pritchard was pretty blunt. He said, it doesn't matter to me. And that's awesome to hear, to be honest with you. He said, starting or coming off the bench, that's something that I have no control over. That's Joe's decision. My only mindset is when I touch the floor, I bring my best. So if I'm starting, I'm ready for that, and if I'm coming off the bench, I'm not going to be sour about it and hang my head. It's when my number's called, I'm ready, and that should be the mindset of this whole team. That's being a leader there, Peyton Pritchard. People are going to be asked to do different things each night. Some guys are going to be asked to maybe not play as much, or how can you show up as a teammate? It's another way of being a leader. Throughout all that, if Joe's going to ask me to come off the bench one game, start one game, keep that same attitude and approach. What has Peyton Pritchard done for his entire NBA career so far? Put his head down, grind, and get better. Look, we all know Peyton Pritchard deserves, and at least he knows he deserves to be in the starting lineup. Like, he's put in the work coming off a 6th Man of the Year campaign. Sure, down the line, maybe that is the best role for him in the league. But as of right now, in a uncertain Celtics year filled with low expectations and experimentation, how about we get PP in that starting lineup here and see what he can do from a whole floor general perspective. That's a huge new role for him. I mean, yeah, he can calm the seas down a little bit, running the one with the starters out there, especially last season. But this year, it's going to be no Jayson Tatum on the floor. That secondary, sometimes primary playmaker out there for you. So a lot more weight on the shoulders of Peyton Pritchard this year. But Joe Mazzulla is not really calling it a competition between the two as far as who's going to earn a starting spot. Here's what Mazzulla had to say. I see what you did there. Build that correlation between Peyton and Anfernee, which I'm sure you'll try to do the entire season. So I'll nip that in the bud immediately. Those two don't go hand in hand. They're completely different guys. I understand Joe Mazzulla going to bat for both of his guys, and he's honestly been doing that this entire offseason so far, going to bat for his players, being in and around this Celtics roster with whatever offseason activities they have going on. Chris Boucher just got baptized last week. Joe Mazzulla was right there with him. I mean, he's been along the side of Jayson Tatum with every step of his recovery. So he is involved with these players. He has a love for these players. They're building a family. So he's not going to badmouth any one or the other that they're in some competition at this point. But they do kind of play the same position. I know Simons can work off of the ball, so can Pritchard in a way. But these are both two offensively gifted, ball-dominant players that don't necessarily have the best defensive upside. So that makes me come to this point where I'm not so sure how often that you can play Anfernee Simons and Peyton Pritchard on the floor together, so that tells me that there is going to be some sort of battle for minutes between the two as the season goes along, but that's just not where Joe Mazzulla is at right now. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see how it all goes out there on the floor when the season gets underway. The starting lineup as a whole, in my opinion, will be fluid, matchup-dependent kind of thing. I don't think we have a designated 4-man. There'll be some nights where they want to go Sam Hauser to have a more spaced-out floor or like a small ball team. Josh Minot for a more fast, athletic 4 you could throw in there, or Chris Boucher, who they brought in as well. Neemias Queta will be running the center, but maybe some nights you see Luka Garza get that starting nod if Queta hasn't asserted himself as the true center 1 on this team. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, those guys are going to be starting pretty much every game for this team as long as they're playing basketball for the C's. But the other 3 positions of the starting 5, absolutely going to be fluid. And I think I can say the same about the closing lineups as well. Mentioned a couple new names from the Celtics throughout that segment right there, and we'll talk about those new names who had some things to say during Media Day in just a moment. First, though, some Celtics hats are on sale, and I love this corduroy one right here, man, with the Celtics script. This one's dope. All of them are at this link right here at chatsports.com/Celtics hats. Love this one with the cream top and the colored brim with the rope. Those are very in style right now. What about the khaki look? I like this one as well, more my speed. Chatsports.com/Celtics hats to get yours today. That link is in the comments section and description of today's video. Get yours today. That link, a ton of them on sale. Chatsports.com/Celtics hats. Alrighty, we got a couple of names to talk about here that are new additions to the Celtics this offseason. Obviously, we know that they lost Kristaps Porzingis, Luke Cornett, Al Horford officially now. He is a member of the Golden State Warriors officially, and Drew Holiday as well. New names in the building. Chris Boucher, let's start with him. Quote that stood out to me from his media press conference was, "Something I've always done is come in and change the game. If it's a 3, it's a rebound, it's a charge, I have a lot of energy to give." That's awesome. I need a spark in the front court. We have a lot of honestly inexperienced NBA talent in the front court for Boston this upcoming season, and Boucher is going to kind of be that safety valve for us. And he had talked about kind of how he feels really comfortable, maybe the most comfortable he's ever felt in his NBA career to this point, 10 years in. And it's because he kind of came into the league trying to spray and pray a little bit, trying to find his shot a little bit too much. But in this quote, you can kind of tell he's trying to affect the game everywhere and bring that level of energy that the Celtics need here. And he'd also mentioned that the Celtics told him they've been looking out for him for years. They've been trying to bring him onto the roster for a couple of seasons now. So that was really good news and good reassurance that he's going to be a big factor of this rotation this upcoming season. Let's talk about Luka Garza real quick. This was his quote he had that stood out to me. This is an incredible opportunity for me, especially at this stage of my career. This was a main part of the draw. And this kind of echoes what he said back when he signed with Boston back in early July. And this is going to be a big opportunity for him. Like I said, Neemias Queta ain't penciled in at that center one for the entire 82-game season. Luka Garza is a player who is seeing an opportunity big time for the first time in his career. He's been shuffled behind Rudy Gobert and Naz Reid and honestly other centers and big men within that Minnesota Timberwolves organization to this point. Now he has a clear-cut spot to not only be the backup center, but maybe start some nights, maybe play a real impact role for this team. He's talked about getting up and down as well, as that's going to be a big part of the Celtics offense. They said they want to be the fastest team in the league. And Garza said a big part of his offseason was getting in shape and being a better overall athlete and defender. So I think that's going to play very, very well into the Celtics' hands this season. Josh Minott, I talked about him earlier, maybe starting some games. I think this is the most under-the-radar Celtics signing of the season. Maybe I'll do a video breaking down Josh Minott and the impact that he'll make this year very soon. He said, this is an incredible opportunity for me. Josh Minott was talking more along the lines of, we're definitely making a point of emphasis to be the fastest team on the court. So I was talking about that a little bit. They want to be a speed kills type of team, a type of Indiana Pacers-esque roster. It's a totally different look now. Peyton Pritchard said the same thing. Totally different look. They want to be the fastest team and run teams out of the gym. So with that being said, talked about the new Celtics so far. Name a new one that you're excited to watch this upcoming season. Who is your guy? Comment for me down below. Is it Minott? Is it Garza? Is it a rookie like a Ugo Gonzalez or one of the two-way guys that they have, or Chris Boucher? Let me know who that is down in the comment section. All right, we got Jordan Walsh talking here. He said, I think that going into this year, taking advantage of my athleticism will be my winning point, my strong point. And this was kind of playing into him talking about how fast-paced the C's want to be this season. Also talked about defenses and his teammates as well, respecting him from the outside. He's talked about improving his outside shot all offseason. Didn't necessarily see that in the Summer League, but hopefully we will get a much improved Jordan Walsh from the outside this year. He's going to be a part of this rotation, at least to start the season, until Joe Mazzulla figures out kind of which 9 or 10 guys he wants to go with in the regular season. This is kind of like a last chance for Jordan Walsh here. We'll see if he can make the most of it. Now, this came in from Jaylen Brown. We'll wrap up with the Celtics' #1 option here, and it's funny that I say that. We'll be talking about that. Jaylen Brown has something to say about being the #1 option in just a moment. But whether the external talk about him is motivation or something he ignores, because we know Jaylen Brown gets clowned on social media. Gets clowned for turning the ball over. Gets clowned for not having a good handle. He said, I felt like in the past, the outside minds, the outside voices, I would be lying if I said they did not motivate me because they did, and now I'm not so sure. So I guess Jaylen Brown tuning out the haters. We could be in for an MVP-level season from JB. Time will tell. Speaking of MVP-level season, he's got the opportunity to do so because he's going to be the #1 option on this team, but he's not all concerned about that. He's kind of got a similar mindset to Mazzulla, to Peyton Pritchard, to Anfernee Simons when they're talking about everybody playing a different role on different nights. He said that's not really a thing, being the #1 option. He cites how that can change within a game and from one matchup to the next. He does note, though, that there's a #1 option on defense, but that doesn't get talked about enough. Jaylen Brown has been stressing being a two-way player all offseason long, and I'm looking for an all-NBA campaign on offense, all-NBA campaign on defense if he's going to be talking all that yak this upcoming season. More from Brown here about the Celtics, about what Boston must continue from last year to this year with a bunch of new faces. I think the Celtic way that we've been able to establish is unselfishness, versatility, being able to empower our guys to step up, setting the tone on defense, and making sure that we continue to maintain our effort on that. If there's one thing that I am not going to question with the Boston Celtics this season and their talent, it is their effort level. And to close out here, effort level, there's a guy who's not exactly starting the season with Boston that has maybe the highest effort level of anybody on the roster, and that's Jayson Tatum. And every single Celtic that I read a quote from had something to say about how often, how frequent just how much Jayson Tatum is working at his rehab, how often they see him in the Auerbach Center, how much it inspires the rest of the group to go out there and want it. So this is awesome stuff. JT did talk to the media as well. I think we'll do a fuller Jayson Tatum video on tomorrow's show because that video that came out, we have to talk about it. But he said there's no pressure to return until I'm 100% healthy. No pressure from Joe, Brad, or the team. So great news there. Kind of been going on a little bit of a media tour lately, but dropping some cool videos. It looks like Jayson Tatum could return this season. Like I'm genuinely believing that at this point. But it's another one of those things I also believe when I see. Well, that'll do it for the end of today's show. Give me a follow over on Twitter. We'll be talking more Celtics as the season gets closer over there at Tyler J. Smith. 2 H's because the name's common, but I am not. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel as well. YouTube.com/Celtics TV. Celtics News the rest of the way because basketball is back. We'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, let's go C's.